Hello everyone. We are very close to our exam, and as you all know that in the final exam we will have a question: what is yoga? So here you have to define the yoga as the yoga teachers have to define it. Yoga is defined by Patanjali in the first chapter of his book of Patanjali Yoga Sutras and his second line. He says Yogasaye Chitta Vritti Nirodha. We have gone on this definition quite in depth just to understand in quick glimpses what does it mean. Yogasaya means the state of yoga. Chitta, in simple words, if you don't want to think and don't want to go deep, it means the mind. But as we have discussed during the yoga class, that yoga does not believe only in the mind that we consist of the brain. It also called the heart as a center of the mind and also the gut, the colon as a center of the mind. So we have three minds in the body. So when these minds are in the union, when they have no conflict, when they are not discussing which way to go, that state of the yoga is he called chitta. So in my country, in the Sanskrit, if you go to India and you ask somebody who knows Hindi or a normal Sanskrit, what does chitta means? He will say chit means heart. He will never say chit means mind. But the Western scholars of the yoga, they have defined chitta as a mind instead of heart. So maybe it can be a cultural barrier because in the Western system, psychology means to think, and the philosophy also means to think. But in the Asian system, the meaning of the philosophy means to observe. So that's why the word is called darshana in Sanskrit. Sometimes you have seen some yoga studios called darshana yoga studio. It means to observe, to learn only by observing, not with the mental modification. So that's why chitta is a much more Indian cultural term where we believe the mind is not located on the brain, the center of the mind is your heart, is the emotions. And the next word is vritti. It means the fluctuations, the modifications. And Nirodha is the fifth state of mind where you generate a shield around your chitta where no negative thought or no distraction can distract you. So this means Yogasaya Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The most of the English translations of Patanjali Yoga Sutra will define yoga as a cessation of mental modification, or yoga is the control of the mind change or the mental modification. But it's not only the control of the mind, it is that no thought can disturb the state of your peace and where you're observing yourself. Because to understand Yogasaya Chitta Vritti Nirodha, you have to understand the two more verses what comes after it. Without understanding the two 1.3 and 1.4, you cannot reach to a deep conclusion. What does it mean by Yogasaya Chitta Vritti Nirodha? So one more time, yoga is a state where no thought, either negative or positive, can affect the current state of your mind or your heart. So as we have discussed during the yoga class, the yoga defined as a kind of a pond which has no ripples, no waves. And a thought come from outside which is a kind of a fluctuating thought which is going to distract you, and what Patanjali called vritti is going to fall in the pond and generate the waves and the ripples, and then the mind become chaotic. So that's why the practice of the yoga means when you practice the yoga, you have to feel yourself after each and every week that is there a transformation taking place in you or not. If the transformation is taking place, whether it is beneficial for you or not. What is the state of your mind? Do you feel much more peaceful, much more rest, and much more happy than before? If these symptoms are not existing in you or in your student, it means the yoga practice either is insufficient or something is missing from the yoga practice. Now let's go to the third line of the next line from this line. He says, Tada Dhrishtupa Swarupasthanam. He says once you reach the state of the yoga, Tada Dhrishta, one who watch, he establish himself what he watch. And if we see the fourth line, he says Vritti Sarupe Mitra. The most of the time you identify yourself according to the thought, not according to your real nature. Something wrong has happened with you during the work. It makes you psychologically disturbed. And you will start seeing the world in a same disturbed state of mind. You will see that each and every man is selfish, each and every man is pessimist, each and every man want to hunt you, want to do bad things with you. The world is not a good place. So it means vritti, the kind of the thought which has affected you, you are identifying yourself with it, not exactly that who you are. The most of the time, the most of the life what we live, or what your student will live, they are identifying always with their thoughts. So the purpose of the yoga is that you should reach the state of this nirodha, where the mind is extremely sealed, and whatever negative or a kind of the illusion comes on you, you does not identify yourself with it. You should feel that it is a temporary state, it's not a part of you. And this way you or your students are going to make their life happy. If your class does not fulfill the purpose, what is yoga? Yogasaye Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So therefore you have to design your class, you have to teach a class, the ambience of the class should be like that way, that by the time after 90 minutes or 2 hours when you are going to finish your class, the student should identify herself or himself with the real nature. Most of the time the teachers do mistake. They create a one more illusion for the student. The purpose of the yoga is not to find yourself, is to satisfy your ego. So the student start identifying himself with the successful or unsuccessful practice. If he makes a good quality of headstand, a good scorpion, a good handstanding, or good difficult posture, what is cannot be done by a normal student, average student, they start identifying with that temporary satisfaction, and that's why the most of the people does not transform, because during the day they are chasing the material life, and during the yoga class they are chasing the spiritual ego. So it does not make a difference. After even 10 years of the practice, they are looking only for gymnastics. So therefore you have to understand, you have to go deep on this concept, Yogasaye Chitta Vritti Nirodha, and this will be asked during the exam. Thank you very much.